We have a guest here in the Mule Memorial City of Muleshoe, Texas today. What's your name?
Randy Olson.
And Randy, why are you in Muleshoe and West Texas right now?
I work for National Geographic magazine. I'm a photographer, and I'm doing a story on the Ogallala Aquifer from South Dakota down to Texas.
And so you're the photographer. Now, how did you get this assignment? Do you have a editor, a managing editor, that's above you and sends you out?
Yeah, all of the above.
All of the above?
There's a lot of editors in Washington, D.C., and they make decisions on assignments based on what you've done before and all of that. So, yeah, I picked up the phone and didn't know much about the Ogallala Aquifer, except that we were camping in Ogallala once and our tent almost blew away. That's all I knew. And then there's the whole research process where you try and figure out where you're going and why you're going there.
And now, before you ever leave your house, what do you do as a photographer to prepare for this particular assignment?
A lot of research. And we'll sometimes hire folks who are experts, to help, to make sure we're going to the right places at the right times. But primarily it's a lot of research for the picture editor and the photographer on the visual side.
And so you always think of the National Geographic as the most beautiful pictures that just grab your heart and jump off the page. And tell us, in the National Geographic, what do you think is the picture that you will never forget that you have captured?
Well, I think I have the only underwater photograph of a grizzly bear. And
Really?
It was done with a remote camera, but the grizzly bears in a remote part of Kamchatka, Russia, were charging up to me to about 6-7 feet away, so it was a memorable experience. But there was one or two frames that worked, and so to see a bear looking for fish underwater is it's an unusual photograph.
Oh, absolutely. Now, when did you become a photographer, Randy?
At birth. Well, no. My father was a photographer, and I always respected that. And so I worked my way through college with photography. I've just always been a photographer.
And how long have you worked with National Geographic?
For 25 years, 50 countries. My wife does the same thing that I do, and so we've done about 50 stories for the magazine. And each story is almost a year of your life. So.
Oh, is it really?
Mm-hmm.
So when do you think this particular edition, what particular edition of the National Geographic will carry your pictures of your trip to West Texas?
Best guess is early 2016. Spring, summer 2016. Okay. It's not quite scheduled yet. They don't get scheduled until they're nearly done.
And now, how many people are working on this with you?
Well, there's a writer, there's a picture editor, there's a word editor associated with the writer, and then there'll be graphics people and layout artists and managing editors and the editor and all of that. Number of people.
A lot.
And a lot, right.
And so you're really just responsible for the actual picture and nothing else.
Well, if you look at my job as storyboarding a movie, but never shooting the movie, but every one of those storyboards has to connect. And every one of those storyboards has a soundbite associated with it. So it's not just random photographs, it's trying to do the research to understand what the storyboard is. In Nebraska, they've got a lot of water. It's up at the surface. They're afraid people may take their water away. It's a different story in Texas, but those groups of storyboards should all make sense together, and that's my job.
And so, what is the most interesting thing so far that you have discovered that you never ever thought about in regards to our water here?
I suppose just the most basic that I don't think most people in America know is that it's the main underground body of water for North America. That 20 to 30% of our food is a result of this, and that's often the most basic thing is the most important and the reason for doing a story. So I think that's the most important thing.
Now, where do you actually live?
I live in Pennsylvania, but we're building a house in Oregon, so we're making the world's slowest move from Pennsylvania to Oregon.
So how long is this slow move going to take you, like a slow train to China?
Yeah, it's been 8 years so far, and it'll be another 3 or 4.
And are you building it, actually?
Well, there's a builder, but yeah, I'm very hands-on with this house.
Well, how fun.
Yeah, that's great.
Now, your wife, have you ever, both of you, been on the very same project and worked together?
We've done a book together. We've done a number of Geographic projects together, and Ecuador just hired us to come down and work on their social media, and so we did that together. We teach workshops together. Over the years, we both have separate jobs, and so we would visit the other one when we could, and so now we try to do more and more things together if we can.
Well, that sounds fun to me. Now, has your wife been a photographer all of her life since birth too?
No, in college she had to decide between she just thought photography fun. She needed an extra class, and so that's what got her into it. But she was one of the first women photographers in the 70s, when there was mostly male-dominated profession. So she's seen a lot of changes.
What's her name?
Melissa Farlow.
And now, so will you get a byline anyway in the pictures?
Yeah, byline in the magazine. And if you want to follow more photographs, you can go to Instagram, which is just instagram.com/Randy Olson, RANDYOLSON. And the magazine reaches about 5 million these days, but Instagram reaches 35 million every day. So
day by day by day.
Yeah.
It's a changing world, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And you, I'm sure, have seen that in just cameras.
Yeah. We started with film cameras, and now everyone has an iPhone. Everyone has 600 rolls of film in their phone. When I had 600 rolls of film in a backpack and would get on a plane to Africa, I was a commodity. But now everyone has 600 rolls of film in their phone.
And now the book you talked about that you and your wife did together, what's the name of the book?
It's The South, the Beautiful Cookbook.
The South, the Beautiful Cookbook.
It's a coffee table book by HarperCollins Publishers, and we didn't do the food photography, but it's the journalistic part of that. But we've worked on about 200 books, and many of them have been by Collins, but a lot of them are groups of photographers that go out and do a book, like those Day in the Life of America kind of books.
Before you went with National Geographic, had you had other positions?
I was at the Pittsburgh Press for 7 years, and before that we taught at the University of Missouri for 2 years, and then I had other small newspaper jobs before that.
And so are you glad that you're a photographer?
I'm absolutely glad I'm a photographer. I don't know what else I would do.
It's fun.
It is fun. And the big fun part of it is that you have a license to go witness an entire range of life, an entire range of social conditions, an entire range of cultures. And I don't know any other job you can do that with.
So, where are some of the exotic locations that you have been just to take a picture that could last and last and last?
I've worked a lot in Africa. I was given access to areas of Sudan that no one had access to for 20 years. I've been in the Congo with pygmies way back, and I've gotten up 2 times in my life to get on a plane, and the airport had burned down the night before. I've worked a lot in Asia, just a lot of varied kinds of experiences. A lot of what I do is resource extraction and how that affects people. And so this story about the aquifer is no different. People need water. People need the food that the water generates, and so it kind of makes sense. But this is the first domestic story, the first time I've taken my cameras out in 20 years to work in the United States.
Really? And so we're honored. And now you're in the backyard at 1011 West 3rd. Who would have thought that you would come this far to the Mill Memorial City? Had you ever heard of Muleshoe before this assignment?
No.
You're honest, at least. Now, some of the pictures that you've been taking around in our immediate area have been of what?
What happens with water? Crops being grown, animals being fed with those crops, well drilling, anything that has to do with water, even if it's just that it supports the community. Like I photographed the trunk or treat in Muleshoe last night because without water, this community wouldn't be here and they wouldn't be able to have a trunk or treat.
Good thought. Absolutely. And all of us, humanity depends on water.
Absolutely.
It is vital. It is certainly. Glad you came our way, Randy Olson with National Geographic. We'll let you come back.
Well, thank you. I will.
As long as our water lasts.
Yeah. That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.